Shahnameh Stories, Part 4, The Story of Jamshid. And so it was that Tahmures' omnipotent son Jamshid, the fourth and greatest king of the mythological era of the Shahnameh, inherited the world of peace and prosperity left by his wise and intelligent father. The imperial Farr, or divine right of kingship, was now his, and the world submitted to him. He brought order and raised civilization further by separating and dividing the people into professions and guilds according to their talents, and the year into months, weeks, and days. With his royal Farr, he perfected the arts, such as the manufacture of armor and weapons, the weaving and dyeing of linen, silk, and wool, and the mining of brilliant jewels and precious metals, through which he came into possession of rubies, amber, gold, and silver. He introduced perfumes such as musk, sandalwood, and rosewater, wine, and the art of medicine, discovering cures for illnesses and ailments. The world had never seen such an inquirer into her mysteries, for which he used magic to reveal all these secrets. He built ships for sailing the seas and oceans of the world, and ordered the Deves to lay foundations of stone and plaster, and to mix clay and water to make bricks. Then, using the science of geometry, they built public baths, castles, and palaces. Jamshid accomplished all these things, and nothing remained hidden from his wisdom. Men flocked around his throne from all corners of the earth to pay him homage and pour gifts before him. The royal Farr radiated from the king, who was likewise the high priest of Ahura Mazda, or Hormuz, as the supreme deity was also known, and all the world, including the angels and demons, were at his command. Striving to climb even higher, he ordered the Deves to build him a throne studded with gems, and to raise it where he sat aloft like the sun shining in the heavens. Watching him fly through the sky, the world's creatures gathered in wonder, and his subjects marveled at his majesty and praised him. They scattered jewels upon their king and declared that the day be known as the beginning of the solar year, and celebrated as Nowruz, or New Day, the holiday that still exists in many countries. Jamshid became the greatest monarch the world had ever known. Iranians gave the palace of Persepolis the honorary title of the Takht, meaning the throne of Jamshid. And even though it is not ascribed to him in the Shahnameh, the magical seven-ringed divination cup, believed to have contained the elixir of immortality, came to be called the Cup of Jamshid, or the Jam Jam. Said to reflect the whole world and the seven heavens of the universe, it is where, in the Shahnameh's tale of Bijan and Manijeh, the king Khosrow searches to find the well wherein the Iranian hero Bijan has been imprisoned by the Turanians. In this painting, from the sumptuous Shahnameh of Shah Tahmasp, Jamshid sits at the pinnacle of his glory. Behind him, lush vegetation and vibrant trees bursting with blooms and blossoms sway to the music of the chirping birds and gentle breeze that whistles through the spirited rustle of the succulent leaves and ripples of the oxidized brook. Inside, the clatter of the artisans engrossed in the workings of myriad innovations mingles with the bustle and chatter of the courtiers who throng around the opulent high-canopied throne of their legendary Shah. Surrounded by lavish carpets, exquisite silks, and golden vessels of delicious delicacies, the multifaceted, intricately ornamented throne is protected by two jolly Deevs, one of whom mirrors the youth below and raises a cup of festive cheer in celebration of the marvelous age that Jamshid had ushered in. Jamshid ruled for 700 years, during which there was no sickness, war, death, sorrow, or evil. The land was filled with joy and music, and peace and prosperity reigned. But as his power increased, he who had known God became ungrateful, proud, and forgetful of God's grace. Jamshid surveyed the world and saw none there whose greatness or whose splendor with his could compare. "None in the world is my equal," said he, "and the royal throne has seen no one to compare with me. It was I who introduced the skills and arts of living to mankind. I arranged the world as I wished, and everything that you have comes from me. Greatness, royalty, and the crown are mine. Who would dare say that any man but I was king?" When they heard their sovereign's boasts, the elders hung their heads in sorrow and knew not what to answer. But the Shah's arrogance angered God, who withdrew the favor that he had bestowed upon him. And so it was that Jamshid lost his Farr, the mystical glory of kingship that had blessed his rule. His days were darkened, and his world-illuminating splendor dimmed. The kings and nobles removed their warriors from his court, and the people rose up against him. It was then that Zahhak, the vassal ruler of Arabia, who under the influence of Ahriman had murdered his father and seized the throne, made war upon Iran. The repentant Jamshid fled across the world, only to be captured, brought back in chains, and sawn in half. Evil took power over the land, and humanity fell from the heights of civilization into 1,000-year age of darkness. This painting is one of several rather graphic depictions of Jamshid sawn in half in front of Zahhak, who is called the Serpent King because of the snakes that grew out of the spot where Ahriman, in the guise of a cook, had kissed each of the king's shoulders. Jamshid's excruciating pain is felt in the slow precision of the two-maned saw that slices its way vertically from head to toe. Watched by a venomous Zahhak, the gushing blood from Jamshid's seemingly two heads draws attention to and highlights the goriness of the severed young heads being served up as the daily offering to appease Zahhak's snakes. Our next videos will take us to the heroic age of the Shahnameh, where we shall meet the champion Rostam and hear the stories of his adventures with the Deevs of Mazandaran.